You ready? All right, y'all. Welcome back to Talking with Big Fella. The Mayoral, I kept saying Mayoral, and it's just Mayoral, you know. The Mayoral edition. We live at the Television Studios. We not at Kneecat today. And with us, we have probably the flyest candidate, Mrs. Fran Bush. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through. This is cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yes, and this is a great setup. So I know we're not at the other spot, but hey, this is even better, I think. I hadn't even seen it, but
You know, we're not gonna toot our own horn, but yeah, we got the vibe over here.
yes, and I love it.
Yeah, we got the vibe. Okay, so, first question. Where you from?
Nashville, the native Nashvilleian. Born, raised, went to all Nashville public schools, went on to the Tennessee State University, which
you
we are.
all the way
I'm all the
Nashville.
way in, right? Met my husband at TSU. I was 18, he was 20. From there, we got together, dated, and all that great stuff, and then started our family. We have 5 sons. Ooh, pray, right?
Lord, y'all fruitful and multiply.
I know, right?
Woo.
I thought I had wanted to have 6 children, but then ended up opening my own child care. So he said that's enough. After we started having our family, and I want to go back, TSU doing some big things, right? That's one thing you can't do is tear down my alma mater, because we're going to come back stronger than ever, right? So we have to really commend what TSU's doing in this city and across the country.
Yeah, that's
so
real.
very proud to be an alumni. I've been in the Antioch community since 2001. I've been a very active leader and advocate of getting things done in our community. As you can think back, Antioch went through some tough times, right? And so now we're on a rebound. We're about to get a nice Tanger Mall out there. We got soccer fields for the peoples, our young people. I mean, it's just transforming. We got Vanderbilt that's coming. We were going to redo that whole mall out there. So I've been a huge advocate, and I'm also an HOA president. So I've been an HOA president for over 21 years. So I'm a huge advocate for community and our families, our businesses, and I'm an entrepreneur. Have 3 quality child care academies that are licensed by the state of Tennessee. And I'm looking to do more and expand more in the city. So I'm really excited about the opportunities, and was on your school board. So I'm telling you, the children, I'm telling you, it's about holding people accountable and getting things right for our kids, right? Because that's where it really is. That's almost a big piece of the puzzle as far as our budget. So we really need to be more intentional about making sure we're bringing up the next generation of young people, so that you and I get a little bit older. I ain't gonna say we're old, but we can sit back and say we raised these young people to take over.
I feel that
Yeah.
all the way. You got any brothers and sisters?
So I do. I have brother and sisters, and really was raised as an only child.
Okay.
So I guess the reason why I had a lot of kids. I don't know. Maybe that's why. That's probably one reason why. I was tired of being by myself, you know. But I had some great cousins that were like sisters and brothers. So it was a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So why are you running to be the mayor of this crazy city at this time?
It is a little bit wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just time. You and I, we kind of conversed about some really great things that Nashville offers, right?
Yeah.
We have a skyline that we haven't seen before, and it's going to continue to grow. What's happening in our city is that we're leaving out our small pockets, which are our people, Nashvilleians who live, work here, and people who come from outside to work here that don't feel like they're part of the equation anymore. We have so many issues that are going on that continues to be like a tumbleweed effect, meaning that the issues keep coming up over and over, year after year, and at some point you have to be tired. And because I've been in public service and because I've done this type of work, I did the work on the school side, and I was very intentional about getting work done. And I did a great job. It was a hard work. It's hard work on the school side.
Yeah, that sounds
very
crazy.
hard.
How long was you on the
I
school?
was there for 4 years.
Okay.
And saw a lot, did a lot, and just made sure that things are moving in the right direction for our schools and our kids. And I saw the work over here. I did the work over here. It was really hard, especially when we had to get our kids back in school after a whole entire year.
You was there during all of that.
Oh my goodness, yes. And that's where your leadership is tested. So when the fire is flaming, this is where real leadership comes into play. That means that either you're going to go in and put it out or you're going to run away from it. And that's one thing I didn't do. I didn't waver. Out of 9 board members, I was the only board member that pushed to get our kids back into the classroom after an entire year of being out of school, when other neighboring counties were in school.
Yeah.
Private schools were in school. And let's not talk about our sports. Did you play sports?
I did.
I ran track. What did you do?
I played football. I'm going to say I ran track, but I only did the fat man 4x1, you know what I'm saying?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you know, at the end, they let the big dudes run around there and pass that thing off. Yeah, I did that.
But hey, it was fun because
fun.
we had a great time. But to your saying, it meant a lot to us to be be able to play our sports, right?
All the way.
Well, take away that from our kids and take away education from the kids. We saw something we've never seen before, very traumatic, happen to our kids. Only one getting them back on the fields. I banned forces with coaches, not just football, soccer, tennis, all of them, and said, we're going to get these kids back on them fields. And that's what I did. So because I can do that kind of movement, I know I can do it for our city.
Yeah. That's real. Yeah, that pandemic was a crazy thing, wasn't it?
It was very stressful.
Interesting, because like some kids is just, my oldest daughter, she's just better. She's not good virtual. And it's interesting because you don't think about the after effects. Like, a lot of them kids' grade point averages, like she was a real good student, but that virtual thing made her grade point average go down because she just wasn't a good virtual student.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect their life moving forward, getting into school. They got to play catch up. It's deep.
Yeah, it was really deep.
It's super deep.
And when I tell you my attitude was so bad, I mean, I was growling. I mean, I saw the problems that I knew was going to happen for our kids. And I knew that this was going to be a long tunnel they had to, get through. So, I just became very intentional and locked arm with parents and grandparents who's raising kids, right? And and especially for our community suffered the most. And I will commend our community that we tried it. Parents tried to stay back and not work. But after 2 or 3 months of not paying a bill, you have to go back to work. And then with the virtual space, it was becoming a joke. It was like, this is becoming harder and harder to keep kids focused. And, it was just a really hard time for our kids. And I get it. It was a pandemic. We knew that this was something new, that kind of thing. But if other counties they were doing it, we could have done it too.
I think that, like, having them kids at home gave everybody a new appreciation for teachers.
Yes.
And educators. Like, oh,
yeah.
They with them all day, every day, and they do this.
And feed them.
And man, what?
Yes,
what?
right?
What?
Yes. Total appreciation for teachers. And it was amazing because you would, even through the screen, you would bond with the teachers and feel how frustrated they were on the other end, trying to keep little Johnny focused and go put on the little cape and flying around the room to get them back focused. And then the other kids, what happens there? They start to get off task. So it was such a big challenge in our teachers. And that's the reason why I fought and advocated for pay raises for our teachers the way I did, because it was very much needed. And I did that. I advocated, and I really pressured for 2 years to get this right with our salaries.
So what I learned the other day was that, is this true? Davidson County is the worst in the state when it comes to education. That's ridiculous. How we got Amazon, Oracle, all this going on, all this $1 billion stuff going on, and our education is the worst in the state. Not some random East Tennessee town by the mountain.
I know.
But Nashville.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
What do we? How is it fixable?
First, we should be embarrassed, right?
Yeah,
because
for sure.
We're operating off a $1.3 billion budget. There is no reason why we look like this, being 95th in the state for education. And to your point, we got rural counties that are doing much better than ours.
It's 95 people better than us. 95 places. That's terrible. I didn't even know it was 95 school systems in Tennessee.
Yeah, we have 99 counties, and we're the 95th. So it's pretty alarming. And the question, can it be fixed? It can. you have to have a mayor who understands and is well versed in education. And that's me, because I understand how to get. Now, when I was on the board, they were moving in a good direction.
Yeah.
What happens is that, as you heard me say earlier, out of 9 board members, I was the only one to get our kids back into the classroom. No one can ever dispute that.
Yeah.
They all sit back and think, I made the biggest mistake, and they did, because it was their problem too, because they should have done more. We have our only employee that we could have charged with this, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So if I'm elected as your next mayor, I want to be able to work with the leadership on how we're going to get things back on track. And it starts with early education. It starts with our literacy. And so being 95th was real more of the literacy and math, which we know reading is a real big problem there for our kids.
Yeah.
And of course, COVID didn't help it. But we really have to be more intentional about our education system. When we are granted that kind of money, and keep in mind, the school budget is sent to the mayor's office. The mayor approves it. Well, I'm sorry, the mayor does approve it to go on to Metro Council for its final vote.
Yeah.
So as a mayor, if I'm looking at a school budget this large, and I have gone through line by line item to look at what's good, what's not touching the kids, etc., and those line items were taken off because it wasn't moving the needle. It was just giving people money. It was just giving other entities that didn't really need it, should I say. And you have to take a deep dive into that budget. And it is embarrassing, I will say, but it is definitely fixable. You just have to have the right leadership who's going to be more intentional about holding people accountable. Accountability is everything. The state of Tennessee holds me accountable. Having 3 child care academies, you know how detriment that is. I mean, they'll come in and shut you down in a heartbeat if any little babies get hurt or abandoned. Supervision is a big thing, and we have to take these things seriously.
Yeah,
so the state hold us accountable, then the mayor's office should show also do the same for the school system.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah, it's deep
Yeah.
situation. Okay, then so this is a good one right here. So I'm wondering, with Music City, being a big event town. It's a big event town. That's just what it is. It ain't no way to stop it.
Right.
That's been the plan. They did a good job at doing that. Even, you can't do everything at the same time. And the same people or person or entity can't do all parts.
Right.
But it's like, with it being a big event town and having all these big events coming, do you still think that it's a space for the regular, everyday Nashvillians? You know what I'm saying? I know everybody keeps saying that out here, the debates and talking about Nashville, we need more for the neighborhoods, this and that. Is that possible?
Oh, yeah. I mean, to your point, this city is not going to slow down. It's just not. It is what it is, right? And we have to embrace it. And we have to be more creative. And as you and I was talking before, we have to start thinking out the box.
Yeah.
And thinking out the box, meaning that, yes, we're going to bring more bigger venues, and of course Titan Stadium is coming. That's going to bring so many more opportunities to Nashville. But what we have to do is fix the problems that people want to see fixed now. I always say, people will grumble and growl at things that's not happening for them.
Yeah.
And once we start addressing those issues, we're going to have a happier Nashville. But until that happens, it just won't. I mean, people are just going to still be disgruntled. Everyone that I've talked to on the campaign trail, or even not even on the campaign trail, I talk to people every day, and my parents and things like that. 99% of them are going to come up with something they don't like about what's happening to them, and they're taxpayers. They're taxpayers, and they say, well, my taxpayer dollars are not going towards this or this. And you have to listen to that, because at the end of the day, it's true.
It is true. That's real. That's super real.
Yeah.
So everybody talking about this transportation thing, right? Because it is terrible.
Oh.
Especially you live in Antioch. You already know it's super terrible out there.
Starts at 2:17 now, 2:18 traffic starts. I mean, it just starts to buckle, and it's just amazing how much, and just keep in mind, school's not even in right now. So just imagine when school comes back in, and just imagine over the summer what we see is an influx of families moving into the city. So you already know that's going to be quadruple more traffic. So here's the thing: Megan Barry started in 2018, started the transit, right?
Yeah.
And she wanted to see this vision, which was a great vision.
Yeah.
The problem is that we just did not. People were not bought into it because different neighborhoods were being left out of the equation. So I'm going to have to go back. If I'm elected as your next mayor, I'm going to have to go back and make it very, very, very intentional to put the plans back on the table.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking about a billion or billions project. This will be a huge project. But you have to start all over again. It's almost like you have to start over again and be able to have the conversations and be able to really, a lot of taxpayer dollars will go into something like this. And you really have to have people to say, I like it, I love it, I don't like it, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Once you can buy people in to say I'm a part of the equation, then you'll start to see some movement. But right now we are 20 years behind the 8 ball.
All the
years, all the way. We should have started this a long time ago.
It kind of go to this whole thing happening in Nashville with this just boom town lifestyle. It's like you can't see it. If people could see how traffic is now,
right,
in 2018, I think the transit thing would have went different, But you can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
What transit wise? How you think we fix this? Like what's some actual things? You think it's the monorail? You think it's a subway? They're talking about going underground. They're talking about more buses. What you think fix this?
Okay, so you talk about more buses, which I think we just made an announcement by Antioch. We're going to do more of like a hub in that Antioch.
Yeah.
That's going to help. However, we're still dealing with traffic, right?
Yeah.
And I still see the traffic lights that are kind of functioning and how they are put in this sequence about traffic. And we know that's not working because you've set a light, you're like, come on, this is ridiculous. And you look in your rearview mirror, you say, darn, look at all these cars. And you think that that's a solution. Is not a solution. So to your point, we can't go underground, we got to go on top. So we're going to have to do exactly what you mentioned was we got to start looking at a trail, we have transit. We got to do something dealing with railing. We have to start that process. Yeah. If we don't start that process, then we're going to be in so much trouble within the next 5 years with traffic. And that means if people really want to be here because of traffic. Some people will say, I don't want to go there now because the traffic is so bad. I think my husband has high blood pressure. He's on medication because he's been in traffic so much. He screams and acts a fool. You just be thinking to yourself.
He got the road rage.
He got it, but he's inside the car because I told him not to be doing all that craziness.
Okay,
you know how it is.
He be
right, exactly. Because I've told him, don't you start crazy with my kids in the car. So. So he's on blood pressure medicine. I said, that's why he's on medicine, but I think we have to start on top, and we have to start a rail, with some kind of rail, and if it's got to be, and then we see New Orleans on the streets, it's in the middle of the streets, but there's so many different options. What we have to do is bring in a sophisticated engineer that understands big cities like Nashville that can help us start moving the needle.
Yeah, because if we don't do something soon,
yes,
because it's going to take a long time to do it. It ain't like you're going to be like, okay, we're going to fix that, and then next year to be different. It's
no. To your point, no. It's going to take at least 5 to 7, 8 years to even move the surface on this thing. So that's the reason why, you have to start now. Next mayor, come in, start that process. What I don't like, I've been here all my life. All I hear is to talk, but there's no walk behind it.
Yeah. Okay. So, having all these creatives here, right? With Nashville being, it's something to be said about any place where people go and follow their dreams, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to make it, I'm going to do this. And Nashville, one of them places. And since like the 1800s, it's been like a hub of creativity, the publishing, intellectual property and all that. But now, with the way it's going, it's hard for those people to be able to make it here and be here. And that's kind of that's what we selling. This Music City is, we selling the whole creative vibe. Even them big companies, when they come here, the reason why they wanted to move here off top, I know the state taxes thing is, a lot of people are like, okay, no state tax, that's good. But it's the vibe. It's that creative vibe.
Right.
And that is kind of getting pushed away. Like, it's hard for them people to just make it and be here. Like, do you think that it's possible to keep a thriving creative community, and how
Yeah.
do we do that?
Yeah, I think that what we have to do, and if I'm elected to the next mayor, and I say this because there are artists that are still struggling artists, musician artists, things like that. They shouldn't be struggling, right? Because they are the heart of Nashville. Without that artist going on broad with their music, and they have to pay $50 to park a day, that's embarrassing. Once again, they're the heart of Music City. Why do you think we have so many tourists come here? Because it's about Music City, right? And to your point, it's about having opportunities. Well, we have amazing artists. They may not be a Taylor Swift just yet, but they're thriving to get there. But we have to do some more supporting our small businesses and people that are making this city the city that we live in, right? We can't leave them out of the equation. So affordability that you talked about, I want to make sure with affordable housing for people, and then also those who are making Music City, where they can live here and it can be affordable. So what I want to do is, because I'm real good with talking to people, networking, being a part of the equation, is that you got to bring people to the table and start having this conversation so that things can start to change. People want to be a part of the equation. No one just asks.
That's true.
And that's all it is. It's about that relationship. Once you build relationship in this amazing building that I just toured, you all have so much relationship and networking power. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, we into this ecosystem building over here. That's my thing.
No, I
I'm
love
all
it.
about the rainforest.
Yes.
Yeah, growing the weeds.
And you know what? It's that's coming, and that's just how it works, So, we have to be mindful that this city, and we love it. We live here, but we don't like that traffic. We don't like a lot of things that are happening. We got to get our education correct. We got to do so many more things to our neighborhoods. Homelessness.
Yeah.
Oh my God, homelessness. Why are we having this big issue?
Yeah.
There's so many things that we have to address. Crime. What about our crime? Yeah. Unbelievable. We have to get it back.
I think a lot of that really start with, I think, educating them kids. If a kid can't read,
what do?
They not gonna even have a chance to get none of them good Oracle $140,000 jobs. Like I don't even think our kids can. So where's the place for you if you don't have a space to be able to get one of those jobs in this Nashville? That's the it city, the city of the 20s. You know what I'm saying? Futuristic. It's interesting.
Very interesting, because we can do so much more, but we just don't have the right people that are really making people and hold them accountable to get it done. And I go back to, just being accountable for children with the daycares. And we know how that is just oh my gosh, anything happen, you're on the news in a heartbeat. People going to bury you right then and there, right?
Oh, that's real.
But if that's the same attitude the state have over us, it should be over our schools. Think about it. We have to be more intentional when we giving this kind of budget. And when I was on the board, it was 1.1 billion. Now it's 1.3 billion, meaning we're increasing the size of finances to make sure that our kids are smart. They can go to Urkel. They can have a trade. They may not have to go. And a lot of kids don't want to go to college. That's okay.
Yeah.
My son, he's in school. He's going part-time. When he was 18 years old, he opened up his own photography business. And he's doing photography and videography. And I was like, well, honey, you got to go to school. He's like, Mom, college is not for everybody. I mean, I'll take some classes. And I thought, you know what? You're right.
He is right.
You're right. You're staying out of trouble. You're doing something you love and like. Get out there and be another, person that, what's his name? And didn't go to college, and he's a trillionaire. Gates. No.
Bill Gates and all of them.
Yeah,
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But they ain't finished.
They didn't finish. No.
Yeah, college dropout.
And they said, you know what? And what did they do? They started like this. What did Bill Gates do? They went in a garage and they started. Was it Apple? Microsoft first. Microsoft. Yeah.
No, it's deep. It's deep. I know some. A builder was telling me that they can't even get their buildings done because they don't have enough electricians or plumbers. And it was like, the electrician, they could charge us whatever they want to charge with all this construction around here. But that ain't even in the schools no more. It's really interesting.
And you remember when we were back in school, we had all the different shops.
Yeah.
And when you go to the shops, they had its own corridor. in the schools. And we used to go just to be intrigued, like, somebody working on cars and this and the other. We were like, man, that's cool. We had, the hair, we had cosmetology. We had all that stuff. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And some of our best cosmetologists came out of high school. So a lot of these functions, you're right, are not there anymore. They need to be put. That needs to be a focus and put this back into the school. Maplewood still have theirs. So it's Pearl, I think Pearl has theirs.
Cool program too.
Yeah. But it's not in every school.
Yeah. It's spread out in these academies, you know.
Yeah, right.
Focusing on different things.
But I tell you, ask these kids what really interests them, and they'll tell you. That's when you put the vest. That's how you invest in the schools. When they say we would like to see this and this is not happening for us, that's who you gotta listen to. They'll tell you.
Yeah, these kids smart. Okay. So we got about 3-4 minutes left. So, this is a good one. I remember when we was at the council meeting, I think he was actually being put on the kneecap board at the meeting where they discussed the Republican National Convention, and they was trying to get it pushed to go to the floor, and they kind of just killed it right there. They was like, nobody really wanted to. I don't think nobody was against it. They just was definitely not for it. And they just kind of was like, well, we can talk about this later. And after that meeting, I was telling them, I was like, you really can't do that. This is a big event time. You can't pick and choose who get to have big events in a big event time.
Right.
If you're going to say,
right.
if you say they can't do it,
right.
then you can say I can't do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you don't like my haircut. I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I like your haircut, though, by the way. I'm just saying.
Don't
I'm just saying, you swap. I'm just saying, just anything that, to your point. Right.
Right. So after that, we seen the state really kicked in. It's like, no, because my personal belief is the absolute worst person to discriminate against is an old Tennessee backwoods, politically minded white man. You better not be discriminating against them. They the great discriminators. And now we feeling the wrath of them nunchucks now because you discriminate against them. They going to bring it back on you.
Right.
Which, you know what? I ain't even mad at them. I feel that. That's how I be wanting to do too. Discriminate on me. I want you to feel it too. And with the state, how you gonna deal with all of them and try to pull this together if you the mayor?
You know what? One of the things that is such a great question, because what we've seen, to your point, is the combative relationships with Metro and state, right? And to your point, state's going to get you back because they're legislatures. They're not God, but they can be powerful on a city and state level when I say that, because God is almighty, right? But at the same, as I'm speaking to their level, they can, to your point, can get back. And when they decided not to have the Republican National Convention basically squashed, that was their time to retaliate. And that's exactly what they did. They took away the oversight board. They don't want the folks to run over on the airport board.
Sports authority.
What they just start snatching stuff.
They showing you their power.
They just start showing your power. And now if I was elected as your next mayor, I would start to build the relationship and do as much as I could to have a relationship and have a seat at their table. Because now it's about having a seat at their table to have the conversation. We may not agree on everything, but at least we can try to come in the middle. And that's one of the things I feel like I'm good at, is being very persistent and consistent with trying to build a relationship. Now, it may not work all the time, but I'm going to keep trying so they'll know. And every time they shut that door, they'll see me at their doorstep smiling and saying, well, can we just please talk? And eventually they'll give in. They'll give in and say, you know what, come and have a seat. And that's what you have to do. You have to be very intentional. In this job, you have to be tough.
Yeah. It sounds like a real gangster situation. You got to be kind of crazy to.
And you know what? Woo. It's great. I love it. I've been doing this, and this is my calling. I always don't take anything for granted. Don't get me wrong. When God says to tell me to do something, I always have to look up and say, really? You really want me to do this? And I'm just very obedient. And he covers you, right? The work you all doing is amazing, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Well, I really appreciate you coming through and talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
How much time we got, Wallo? Oh, you know what I'm saying? We're going to ride this on out. Say, y'all been watching Talking with Big Fella, Fran Bush. August 3rd, the choice is yours. What you going to do? All right. Peace.